Hi, Robin Robbins here, founder and author of the Technology Marketing Toolkit, where we specialize in helping small, medium IT service companies to implement highly effective client attraction marketing systems to not only get more clients, but better quality clients as well. And this is a marketing oil well. And in this video, I'm going to show you how this brand new concept of setting up your own marketing oil wells that I believe is actually going to help you unlock the mystery around implementing a highly effective and predictable marketing plan that is simple to understand, and once in place is going to bring you 10 times the results of most marketing campaigns that you're implementing. And if you're an IT business owner and you're struggling to sell managed services or cloud computing or any other type of outsourced IT, and you're really constantly struggling with the concept of how do you get more and better quality clients, and how do you implement a marketing plan that is effective, and maybe you're dealing with some of the mysteries around how do you set that plan up, and it feels like this overwhelming task and you don't even know where to start, then I think you're going to really love what I have put together for you in this video series. And here's what I'm going to share with you today. First of all, I'm going to share with you a brand new way to think about marketing that may finally unlock the mystery and frustration you feel around creating and implementing a client attraction system for your IT business, more specifically, a marketing plan. Also, I'm going to show you an incredibly simple way to get 10 times the results for the same marketing efforts that you're putting out there, and how to scale things so that you can repeat and replicate what you're doing to get even better results instead of having to constantly come up with creative new ways of marketing your business and getting more clients. I'm going to give you several real-world case studies from other IT business owners, your peers, who have set up these marketing oil wells in their business to generate $50,000 to over $700,000 in new service sales to a very small list in a very short period of time. In most cases, these have happened in under 5 months of implementing this. And I'm also going to talk about the number one reason why you're constantly struggling to make more money, more or less profit, and why you seem to never achieve any significant level of wealth, security, and stability in your business without this one thing. And I know you're going to think I'm going to say the one thing is a marketing plan, but actually you're going to be surprised. The one thing is not a marketing campaign or a marketing plan. It is a concept that I see that's holding back a number of people from really growing and scaling their business. But a quick heads up, this video that you're watching right now is not going to be up for long. So make sure you watch it now, watch it to the end, and I'll explain why I'm not leaving this up for a long period of time at the end of this video. But if you have people you want to watch this, make sure you forward it on to them, because it's only going to be up for a couple of weeks. Also, I want to let you know a bonus that I'm going to give you, and you hang on to the end of this video, and I'm going to show you how to get a copy of all the campaigns I'm going to show you in this video, plus a 3-inch manual loaded with marketing examples, marketing oil wells for selling IT services that you can literally copy and paste to get more clients right now. Because I know when you watch this video, I'm going to get a ton of emails and phone calls into the office saying, how do I get those campaigns? Or if you're a client of mine, you're going to say, do I have access to those campaigns? So at the end, I'm going to explain how you can do all that. So just make sure you hang on to the end of the video. So in putting together this video, I thought I'd share with you some interesting statistics based on what I have discovered in working with MSPs and IT consultants and cloud integrators over the 10 years I've been doing this in this business, specifically to marketing. And this was gathered through various surveys that I've done with clients and industry surveys to my list. In my list, we've got about 30,000 MSPs, IT consultants on our list, and that's a very clean, targeted list. So it's not a bunch of fluff, it's the owners of those businesses. So these statistics are very interesting, and they're indicative of what's going on in the marketplace out there. First off, 78% of managed service providers, and I'm going to say MSPs as a general term. Some of them are selling cloud, some of them are still selling a little bit of break fix, but they're selling outsourced IT services. But 78% of MSPs are generating less than 2 good qualified appointments a month. That's crazy. In some cases, some people aren't even generating 1 appointment a month. Most of them want to generate somewhere around 7 appointments a month. That's what their goal is. But right now, with the marketing that they're doing, they're generating less than 2 good qualified leads a month. And when I asked the clients on my list, what's the most effective marketing strategy you've used to date to get more clients, that was not referral-based, because we all know referrals is going to be the number one thing on everyone's list. Here's how the replies broke down. First off, 31% said we have absolutely no way of driving new leads outside of waiting for those referrals to come in. So they're sitting around praying, rubbing their lucky rabbit's foot, hoping that a referral or something's going to land their way because they really have nothing outside of that. 22% said that outside of referrals, the best way they're getting new clients is through networking or chamber events. Of course, the problem with that, if you're like me, I'd rather stand in the corner and talk to a plant than talk to strangers, and you got to stand around with that drink in your hand, and it's kind of awkward and whatnot. And it's time consuming to go out to those networking events. But that was 22% cited that. 11% said telemarketing was the best thing outside of referrals. 9% cited Google AdWords. And the rest were broken up into small, like single digits. So everything from a van wrap to Yellow Pages, which was kind of surprising to me. A number of people said they're still getting business off of Yellow Pages. I'm guessing maybe break fix work, but who knows? Search engine optimization, newsletter marketing, direct mail, and so on. So I just kind of lumped them all because that's the balance of everybody because it was all over. But again, remember the people that I polled, 78% of them, regardless of what they're doing, are still generating less than 2 good quality appointments a month. So what that means is that most do not have a single reliable way to generate sales and attract more clients. It also means most IT business owners' marketing plans are basically random acts and disjointed parts with no measurement, no accountability or planning. So you'll see someone trying telemarketing for a while, or they'll try Google AdWords, or they will try Facebook or posting on Facebook or Twitter, or they will try a postcard and they get little to no results and they think, boy, that was a big waste of money. And so they don't ever repeat it again unless maybe they decide to try it again 6 months later, a year later, whatever it is. So their marketing really gets no system to it. There's no consistency, there's no replication. They don't make things better and better the way they should. And most don't have any sophistication or process to selling and marketing. Yet think about this, getting new clients is the single biggest problem they face in their business. So when you poll them, or I've polled them, and I've said if there was one thing you could wave a magic wand over your business and fix one thing, what would that one thing be? And almost every single one of them will say, I want to get more clients, but I want to get better quality clients as well. Because when you don't have revenue, when you don't have enough profits coming in, I mean, it's pretty obvious. You can't hire good people to help you grow the business and alleviate some of the tasks from you. And that makes the business dependent on you, which is a very dangerous situation to be in. You can't invest in the tools, in the software, in the systems, if you will, to grow your business, to be competitive, because if you don't have a really good process in your business for supporting computer networks, it hits your profitability, and it also makes you less competitive because you're not able to service those clients as well as other MSPs who do have good cash flow and do have good service departments and have organization and process. So you're in this kind of chicken and egg situation where you need more clients to get more money, but you don't have the money to invest in it. And it really can be a struggle. So we're going to try and solve that in this video. So what is a marketing oil well? All right, so essentially what it is, it's a formulaic, predictable system for attracting and converting more of the right types of clients. And I learned this concept from a friend of mine, Dean Jackson. He is a great, brilliant marketer, and he specializes in marketing for real estate agents. And I've heard him use this term, marketing oil well. And so I took that concept and I kind of went a step further and put some meat on the bones a little bit. And I started using this when I was talking to my clients about setting up marketing plans for the year, for the quarter, to try and make sure they're hitting their goals. And when I started using this marketing oil well concept, it seemed to really click with them. It seemed like they finally understood what they needed to do to create a working marketing plan in their business so they could get some systems, so they could have some sophistication, some accountability to make things even better. So that's why I decided to put this video on for all of my clients and subscribers to help you try and understand this and maybe get your head around it. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a greater amount of clarity in what you need to do with the marketing that is working and how you can make it work even better, and then what to do when planning new marketing initiatives, new ways to get clients. So let me explain what an oil well is by explaining what it is not, okay? First off, a marketing oil well is not a 10-pound, 12-month marketing plan that takes months to research and write only to never be looked at again. Look, here's the deal. In all the years I have been doing marketing, I have never seen a client come to me with a really good mapped out marketing plan. I mean, someone who really says, here's our annual marketing plan, here's what we're gonna do, here's all the goals around it. And quite honestly, I don't know that it's necessary to have that. I do think planning is necessary, and I do think you have to look at it on a quarterly basis. But the people who put together 12-month marketing plans, really extensive documents, rarely does that help guarantee them the success that they're looking for. So I want you to understand, first off, you do not have to do that. I'm not going to be asking you to put together this expansive research document about your market, your clients, your products, your services, your competition, and what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. Because the reality is, in business, things happen so fast. You can plan something 12 months out, and something's going to happen in the next month, in the next week, maybe tomorrow, maybe today, and it's going to blow your plans up. So that's the reality of it. So in most cases, I'm recommending my clients they plan a quarter in advance. It's also not a complicated, time-consuming process dependent on your creative ability. Look, most of my clients are IT guys. They're not creative marketing geniuses. They're just trying to get more, better quality clients, and they don't have a whole lot of creativity, especially when it comes to marketing. So the good news is these marketing oil wells, they're really not complicated. They're not time-consuming. They're a little time-consuming to set up. But once you set it up, it just delivers those clients that you want on a consistent, regular basis. And it's also not focused on any one type of marketing method. It can be applied to online marketing, email marketing, search engine optimization, Google AdWords. It can be applied to offline marketing, telemarketing, networking, trade shows, direct to mail, van wrapping. It doesn't matter what it is. So that's the other good thing about these marketing oil wells. And let me explain what I mean by a marketing oil well by giving you an analogy of how real oil wells are drilled, okay? So let me give you this analogy. So if we were to build a real oil well, the first step we would have to do is locate oil traps. And in the oil industry, it's called prospecting and research, oddly enough, just like marketing, okay? So in other words, before we build a drill, we gotta make sure that whatever is underneath the ground there actually has some oil in it, because there's no point in drilling for oil if you drill down and it's dry, there's nothing there, there's no oil to be had. So that's a pretty obvious step, all right? You gotta locate oil traps. In marketing, you gotta locate where your best prospects are, or who your best prospects are. Step two, you gotta build the drill and create what they call as a starter hole to test for oil. When they're looking to locate oil under the ground, what they do is they have what are called seismic surveys. And what they basically do is they send a pulse down into the ground, and based on the feedback that comes back, they know whether or not there is oil under the ground. And if they think that there's oil under there, it comes back, all the tests come back correct. Then what they do is they build the drill and they create the starter hole, and they drill down and they test to see if what their estimations are correct. Is there actually some oil there? Can they extract some? Now, they don't have to extract a ton of it at the moment, because they're just starting. They're just kind of seeing, could this work? Could we multiply our results that we're getting here? And if they do, then they go to step three. And once that oil is discovered, the drill is removed, and then they put production equipment in place. And what that is a pump. All right, so they literally, those big towers you see, that's actually the drill. Once they hit oil, they actually put a pump in place to extract the oil, and then they go to step 4, which is enhanced oil recovery. And what that essentially is they put in processes and systems to make the oil extraction faster and easier. So for example, if they find a big oil trap and they build the drill and they find they can extract it and it is successful to some level, then they remove the drill, they put a pump in place. And let's suppose they find out the oil is really thick and it's hard to extract and it's making it slow to extract the oil. Then what they'll do is they will feed down, for example, a tube with steam, and they will heat the oil up, which makes it thinner and it makes it easier to extract. That's called enhanced oil recovery. And once that equipment is in place, once that production equipment is in place, once that pump is there, once they've implemented enhanced oil recovery, then that pump just basically works. It pumps 24/7, 365 days a year, producing oil. And that's really how you want your marketing to work. And I'm going to give you some examples. So this is a kind of a high-level analogy, and I know you might be sitting there going, well, I don't really quite get it. That's fine. Let me give you some examples of what a marketing oil well looks like in the real world. So this is a client of mine, Tim Shea, AlphaNet Solutions. He's an MSP based in Putnam, Connecticut. Last year, he increased his net profit by 140%, managed recurring revenue, that's MRR, by $74,669, and gross sales were up $267,625, so not too shabby. Tim is about $1.5 million a year MSP. He has no marketing manager to help him. So he's doing all of the marketing himself. And the way he was able to generate those kinds of results without a marketing manager, without somebody to really implement this and take over and help him, was by setting up several marketing oil wells, one of which was canvassing. So he did several campaigns, but the one I'm going to share with you is canvassing. And why am I going to share with you canvassing? Because I bet most of you out there would sit there and say there is absolutely no way that canvassing could work. And what canvassing basically is you're walking around to local businesses in your area, walking in and introducing yourself and dropping off materials. Now, you're not trying to sell them right there as you walk in. You're just basically name gathering and introducing yourself. And I'm going to walk you through the process so you can understand it. But if I had told you that you could get thousands of dollars in managed services by canvassing, I bet most of you would dismiss it and say that would never work. You can't do that. There's no soliciting signs, all these reasons why it wouldn't work. So that's why I chose this particular one to share with you. So step one, like I said, when you're drilling or you're making or designing your own oil well, you got to first locate the oil traps. And so what he did to locate the oil traps or his best clients is he went to Sales Genie and he did research on his ideal prospects, and he just pulled down raw data. And by the way, this is not a plug for Sales Genie, because a lot of these list sites like ZapData and InfoUSA and Sales Genie, they kind of pull all from the same database anyway. All right, that's a little insider secret most people don't know. So any of them will do. They'll give you raw data. So he looked up a list of prospects based on geographic location. So they had to be geographically specific. So he looked for office parks. He looked for industrial parks where groups of these clients were. He wanted someone who had a server on site plus 10 to 50 computers, and his niche was manufacturing or professional services being lawyers, CPAs, engineers, consultants, etc. Then what he did is he organized these prospects into clusters of 10 to 20 that were close in geographic proximity to each other. Next, he built the drill. Now, the drill was basically he created a mini shock and awe box to drop off of these prospects. Now, shock and awe is a term that we didn't create, shock and awe. It's actually a term that was, it's a marketing term for a package of materials that you would deliver to a prospect that really wows them, that really builds credibility, that makes them realize that you're unique and you're different, and makes them want to do business with you. It kind of does a lot of the pre-selling in advance. Now, Tim's shock and awe included a testimonial book. So he had a full book of testimonials from happy clients, not like one or two, but a book of testimonials and letters of recommendations from clients. He also included in there his self-published book, IT Scams, how to find an ethical, competent computer consultant. And it's really essentially about how to avoid hiring the wrong computer consultant. He also included a client bill of rights, and that was sort of the guarantees he made to these prospects. If you become a client, here's what you can expect from us. He had a service guarantee. He had copies of his newsletter in there, and he also had an offer. And the offer was an oversized get out of computer trouble free postcard. And if you're a client of mine, you're familiar with this offer. It's one that's been around for years and it works really well. But essentially what you're offering is the first service call for free to get in the door and to start doing some business with them, or potentially doing some business. So then what he did is he hired a high school graduate to compile all these materials, to drive to these prospects' locations and drop off this bag of materials. And he also hired a part-time in-house telemarketer to follow up on the offer for the free service call to see if he could book an appointment. So that was the drill, if you will. Then the production equipment was put in place. So here was his admin's schedule for 16 weeks. He did this. On Tuesday, the admin would pull together a list of 10 to 20 companies to target a list from the Sales Genie list and enter them into his database. I believe he's using ConnectWise. So he would have the admin do all this sort of grunt work, if you will. Next, on Wednesday, he assembled 10 to 20 of the canvassing material bags. On Thursday, he would go out and deliver the materials. And then on Friday, he would come back into the office, and any additional prospects he found while he was walking around, he would update those, or he would correct and validate any information he discovered from the canvassing. Because here's the thing, guys, when you download a list from Sales Genie, Info USA, or any list that you're renting, a lot of it is people that are no longer in business, wrong addresses, wrong people. I've seen it to be as high as 40% of the list is just wrong information, that there are people that have gone out of business, not even there anymore. So part of what he would have to do is when he would drive out to the location, he's clearly going to see whether or not they existed. So Friday he would come back and he would update the database. And he was doing this, again, in a list of about 10 to 20 prospects or companies every week. Then the telemarketer would follow up regarding the offer the following week. So the next week she would call and say, hey, did you get the materials we dropped off? And I was calling to see if we could schedule that appointment. Very simple process. That's the production equipment that was in place. Then we went into enhanced oil recovery. So as he was doing this, he learned how to do it better, how to make it smarter, because he didn't just do a one-off. So here was the lessons he learned. He found that it's important to hand the materials to the decision maker to avoid the "I didn't get that bag" response when the telemarketer called. So when the high school graduate, his admin would walk in, he'd say, I have some materials for the CEO, and he knew the name because he got it off of the Sales Genie list and would validate that before going out. And he would just hand the materials to him and say, hey, we're an IT services company. I don't know if you need our services or not, but here's some information about us. There's an offer in there for a free service call. Have a nice day. I mean, that was essentially it. It was not like he was selling them anything. He was just dropping it off. He also found targeting the right prospects is really key. So the research they did on the prospects before going out was really important, so that way they knew who the CEO was. And with the internet, guys, you can find out anything about anybody. So he knew who the CEO was, he knew what their location was, he could kind of get an idea of the size of the company. So he had to make sure he got those right prospects. If they found a certain industrial park that was responsive, then they'd go back for a second time and look for other businesses close by that might not be on the list. And he actually did find that certain industrial parks or office parks to be more responsive than others. So that was a process he learned to get smarter with his targeting. He also had to get the right person to do the canvassing. They had to be professional and confident. Now, this was a high school graduate, but it wasn't a salesperson. This guy didn't have any sales experience, but he did have to be confident. He had to be polite, and he had to be professional, because you don't want someone going out there that's not confident, that can't present well, that if they get asked questions about the company, they have to be able to articulate to some degree what you do. So they can't be just some goofball off the street. Also, telemarketing follow-up was key to getting the results that he did. And he added everybody that he found through canvassing to their newsletter list and implemented a drip campaign. And since then have generated even more sales. Now, the last time I talked to Tim, which was the fall of last year, we found out he had added 176 good qualified prospects to his list. Now, I'm not talking about some list he rented. I'm talking about people who were CEOs, local business owners that would fit his model. They had a server, they had 10 to 50 computers, they were outsourcing their support or would be good candidates for that. So they weren't mystery people. They were good qualified prospects. And one of the biggest challenges I hear from a lot of MSPs or people, maybe you even have this challenge as well, is you don't have a good list. So this was a way in just a couple of weeks, in a couple of months, he was able to add 176 really good qualified prospects. He had 21 people say yes to the offer. That is a 12% response rate. Now, if you're not savvy in direct marketing, you should know that people win awards for 2% response rates. He got a 12% yes rate. As of the last time I talked to him, and by the way, not all the leads had been followed up with, he had generated 5 quotes and 2 had closed for $4,000 per month in recurring revenue on a 3-year contract. Plus, he got $20,000 in project work for a total of $164,000. And he fully expected the other 3 to close. I did not, at the point of recording this video, find out whether or not he actually closed them, but when I talked to them, he was about 95% confident that they would close. all from canvassing. Now the key point here, it's definitely not a one and done, but it's a systematic process that you continually repeat. And that's the key to this oil well concept. It's not about every single month or week or quarter trying to come up with some creative new thing. It's about picking one type of prospecting campaign, whether it's canvassing, telemarketing, direct mail, networking, trade shows, and going deeper and getting better and more systematic and repeating the process and learning as you repeat the process, making it better every single time. Let me give you a second example of a marketing oil well. And this is Chris Weiser. He is an MSP in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He's the CEO of TechSquad. And he started selling cloud. At this point, it was probably about a year ago. And he decided to do a webinar to launch this. At less than a year later, he is now at $17,000 per month in recurring revenue. So $17,000 every single month in cloud services, and it's growing. That's $204,000 just for the year. And he did this by setting up webinar oil wells, all right? So step one, he had to locate the oil traps. Just like Tim Shea, he used in-house telemarketing to build a list of qualified prospects. Now, if you're a client of mine, you own the Toolkit Blueprint or one of my products, there is a telemarketing script that you have right now, and that's the one he used to just sort of qualify those lists of prospects. And he chose to launch a cloud offering since cloud was such a hot topic, and many of his prospects were now talking about it. So that is the opportunity. He located not only who are the prospects, but also what would get them very interested to want to talk to him, to want to come to one of his webinars. Second of all, the drill was this cloud webinar. So he created it, and the two things he answered were the number two questions that clients and prospects were asking him about cloud. Number one was, what is cloud computing? A lot of people just don't even know what it is, and they're curious about it. Number two was, how can it help me? All right, so that was the topic around his cloud webinar. And he created a very simple web registration page and marketing plan to get the people to attend. You're actually looking at it on the screen right now. Next, he put in production tools. So about 2 weeks before the webinar, he sent out 6 to 7 emails to his list of those prospects he found through telemarketing, inviting them to attend this upcoming live webinar. And then he used in-house telemarketing to follow up and drive registrations to the webinar. So the telemarketing was used first to locate who these right prospects were, and then later on, when he had the webinar scheduled, he used it to actually follow up on the emails that were being sent out, inviting people. And he struck gold. The very first webinar, he had 84 registrations and 54 people attended the webinar. 9 people instantly requested to meet with him, to get an appointment, to get a proposal for his cloud solution. He closed 4 immediately and generated $352,800 in sales. That is off a webinar, one time. Now, step 4, of course, in the oil well concept is enhanced oil recovery. So he was smart. He didn't just say, oh, that was a great thing. Well, let's go close a bunch of sales and never do it again. So now he's doing at least 2 webinars a month. And he's using the same process. He's building the list. And he's now integrated different topics, everything from how to use a Mondo pad to mobile computing, security, and of course cloud. So he's rotating these webinars to go deeper with his list, because maybe somebody's not interested in cloud, but they would be interested in mobile computing or security or how to use his Mondo pad, something like that. And in this past year, I just got this on Facebook. He tagged me in the post, but he recently said that he has tripled his revenue. He said, just looked at the final 2012 numbers for TechSquad, officially a 3.09x result. Great job, team, and thanks for partners and coaches, and he named me as one of them, as you can see on the screen. That's something he recently posted on his Facebook account, so my guess is this oil well is working pretty well for him. And if you think it's a one-off, let me give you another case study. David Carattini, same thing, Arizona Tech Works. David's a one-man band who had never done marketing before, had 0 experience in speaking to a group. He decided to do an actual seminar, not a webinar, but a seminar on cloud computing to his house list. He had about 325 prospects. He got 56 to register, 43 to show up, booked 10 appointments for cloud readiness assessments, which are just an appointment to go in and talk about cloud. 6 already closed. And that's more appointments than most MSPs generate all year by just taking this oil well that we had given him, which is this cloud seminar, which is the same concept that Chris used, and implementing. So I want you to know it's not just a fluke. There are multiple clients of mine who are getting these results. Nate Viveiros, ThinkTech Computers, promoted a cloud lunch and learn seminar using the same oil well process that David Carattini used. He went to his house list only. He used email marketing. He didn't do any telemarketing. He didn't do any direct mail or joint venture marketing. 30 people registered, 23 attended. He got 11 people saying, I want to meet with you and talk to you about cloud. That's almost half the room. Has closed 4 deals for $14,800 a month in recurring revenue with an overall contract value of $532,000 off of one seminar. Now, think about this. If you held a cloud seminar, and let's say you didn't get this kind of result, maybe you didn't generate $500,000 in sales, but if you got maybe 2 clients off of it, that's like you built the drill, you drilled down, you hit oil. Now, we have to go into enhanced oil recovery. We have to obviously, build the pump. We got to make it better. But Nate and the others that I'm showing you here are doing this on a repetitive basis. They're not just doing one and done. And every time they do it, they're going to get better results because they're going to build their list. They're going to get more appointments. They're going to get better at presenting. They're going to get better at marketing. And they can reuse the materials that they had previously. They don't have to recreate a brand new website and recreate all the emails and recreate the telemarketing scripts and all that. So it took a little work to build the drill, but once the drill is built, we tap into oil, then we just put a pump in place and it's off to the races. Let me give you a third example of a marketing oil well. This is Tom Andrulis. Tom is an MSP. He's based out in Las Vegas, Nevada. And he implemented a simple oil well campaign to a really super small, highly targeted list of 87 prospects. That's all that was on the list. And that campaign generated $774,096 in managed recurring revenue and $45,238 in project work. And all he did was 5 campaigns to this list. So let me explain what those were. First off, he had to locate the oil traps. Again, he had to build the list, and he chose to target larger companies who could obviously write a bigger check. So the minimum was 25 to 75 PCs plus. He wanted people who were already outsourcing their IT in some way, shape, or form to even be on the list. So he started with a raw list of about 8,000 businesses from Info USA. So as you can see, it doesn't really matter where you get the list. Just like Tim, he went to Sales Genie, but he got this big raw list. And if you go out there, there's going to be a lot of fluff. There's going to be a lot of unqualified people in there. There's also going to be people who are out of business, wrong information. Next, he invested a couple of months into building and qualifying this list using in-house telemarketing. And it took him a couple months to do this, but he got the list down to 87 names. And again, I'll remind you guys, if you're a client of mine, because I know I've got a lot of clients watching this, you've got the script, if you've got the toolkit or the blueprint, or if you're just a client of mine, I'm happy to send this to you, okay? Next, step 2, he had to build the drill. And the drill he chose was to send out our lumpy mail, direct mail series, followed with a telemarketing call. So you can see, I showed you an example of canvassing. I showed you webinars and seminars. Now we're talking about direct mail. So all of these campaigns and different ways of building your oil well or your drills can work. Now, he knew he needed to cut through the clutter. He really wanted to make sure he got the attention of the CEO, and he wanted to make sure that the letter would actually get delivered and not be filtered by their human spam filter in the office, which is their assistant. See, a lot of people make a mistake with direct mail and they send out a postcard. Well, a postcard is an obvious advertisement, and the admin at the front desk can look at it, see it's junk mail, and throws it away, and the prospect CEO never sees it. So he knew he had to get past that gatekeeper, and he knew he had to get it open and read. So he also realized that these prospects were going to be worth far more to him, so he invested more money into the mailings. So step 3, the production equipment being put in place, what he did is he established a system where he was mailing out to a list of 87 companies that he had identified, those 87 from the telemarketing, and he was mailing them every 2 to 3 weeks with some sort of a lumpy mail. What I mean by lumpy mail is there was something included. So for example, on the screen you're seeing the sales letter that went out, and the sales letter was mailed with some poker chips because he is in Vegas, right? So he mailed that out. And he said, are you taking an expensive gamble with your company's critical data and network security? to find out, see if you can say yes to these 5 simple questions. And the letter was literally a 2-page letter, had some poker chips, and they did a follow-up phone call. For example, the second mailing that went out was the aspirin campaign. And it says, is your current computer guy causing you to need one of these? And they actually attached a little packet of Bayer aspirin to the top of the letter and followed up again with telemarketing. Now, he did 5 of these letters. The second mailing, the one I just showed you, landed the first client. So after just 2 mailings to 87 people, he got this client. And this is a copy from an email he sent me. I'll read it to you. He said, after the second mailing, we got a response from a property management company with 40 PCs and 3 servers. They signed up for a premium care contract worth $3,000 per month. That's his managed services, his top-end managed services agreement, and have plans to replace their 3 servers for $22,000, the phone system for $33,000, and the internet connection will add on another $1,200 per month. They referred us to manage the systems at one of the buildings they manage for another $500 per month, which is a small deal, but still got it. And they have already had conversations about how they can refer us to more of their clients. And this one client was way worth the effort of the entire campaign. Now, he has continued to mail and call the list, and it's resulted in another sale worth $500,000 in recurring revenue. So he's up to 5 mailings at this point. Let me give you another client who used the same series, the same campaign. Satima Fowler, she's an MSP based outside of Rochester. Used the exact same approach as Tom, but she only used a list of 40 prospects. In fact, when she started, she only did 20, but then started getting the results and said, oh man, we're gonna make the list bigger. After 4 months of mailing, they've closed $11,081.70. Over the life of the contracts, it's going to be $109,404 for just the managed services alone. That's not any new hardware or phone systems or referrals or other project work they might get. So now, of course, they're increasing the list size again, but she used the same exact oil well. Another example, Ryerse, JTECH Networks. He's an MSP based in Atlanta, Georgia. He started out with a list of 600, but shaved that down to 130 really good qualified prospects. And after 5 letters, it seems like 5 is the magic number. I don't know why, it just seems like in these case studies, added $9,504.70 in monthly recurring revenue. So over the contract for a year, that'll be $114,000 for the entire year. So this clearly works. Now, remember at the beginning, I promised to share with you the #1 reason why you're constantly struggling and you can't seem to generate more income, more wealth, and more growth? Well, the #1 reason why you're constantly struggling to make more money and why you'll never achieve any significant level of wealth, security, and stability in your business is without this one thing. And this one thing is a lack of systems. That's it. Here's a little insider secret. Wealth, security, profits, and ultimately the freedom you get from your business is created through systems, not reactive, disjointed parts and chaotic random acts. Think about it. Restaurants open and close all the time. They're actually one of the most volatile businesses in America. They open and they close immediately because the profit margins are so narrow. They're very difficult. There's huge competition out there. I have a friend who's in the restaurant business, so I know, and I'm telling you, it's a tough business to make work. And then you look at someone like McDonald's, and McDonald's has been able to franchise a restaurant that does not have the best food by far, that is getting pimply-faced teenagers to run it, and they're hugely successful and have been for years. And that's because McDonald's is not a master of food by far. If you've ever eaten there, you know that. They are a master of systems, of process. They know how to consistently deliver whatever, I want to say quality food, but well, again, you already know my feelings on that. But they have a process and system for running that restaurant. And when they do that, you can hire smarter. You can get more efficiency done. You can get better, higher profits. And what they're essentially doing is they're setting up oil wells in their business. Now, again, I said it's not just marketing, because of course, marketing is one of these areas, but you want systems in everything. You want systems on how you onboard clients, on how you support clients. Because without these processes, without these systems, you're running around in chaos, all right? Just like my logo. My logo says keep it real. Real stands for rewarding, easy, attractive, and lucrative versus a tech business, which is tedious, exhausting, chaotic, and hard. All right, and the difference is the people who have real businesses start building systems and processes, and they build on successes, and they don't just do running around random chaotic acts. Now, of course, in marketing, it's really critical that you have these systems. Why? Because if you don't have one reliable way to bring in new clients, you are at risk. You are at risk to the economy. You are at risk to competition that might move into your area. You are at risk for any number of things. You lose a client, and it's sudden and unexpected. Boy, I have seen this happen a lot, where somebody suddenly loses one of their best clients for some reason outside of their control, something that they couldn't see coming. And now they're scrambling and they're losing and bleeding money. So that puts you at risk if you don't know how to replace that income. You don't have at least one reliable process to generate sales, you're definitely at risk. You also can't confidently hire new technicians or invest in tools for greater efficiency, automation, unless you can know you can bring in more revenue to cover the cost. And I know a lot of you are probably trapped in that right now, where you need an extra set of hands to help you because it's hard to do the marketing. It's hard to do other things because you're so busy doing the technical work. I get it. I understand that. But at some point, you're going to have to implement better marketing systems, because as you hire technicians, you have to have the confidence that you can get them fully utilized and make money on them, rather than just taking a hit to your paycheck while you wait 6 months to a year hoping that they get to 75% utilization, where you can actually generate some profit. You're also, I should remind you guys, you're in business to generate a profit, nothing else. So why the heck take all the risk, all the responsibility, the crushing workload, the worry, the anxiety of running a business if you're not going to get paid for it? And you can't get paid for it if you don't have marketing, if you can't bring in clients. And it's amazing to me how many people we will talk to on the phone who express an interest in marketing, and when it comes down to making a decision to joining my program, they say, well, you know what, it's not the right time, or I'm too busy, or whatever. What the heck are you too busy doing that you don't have time to make money? I mean, a business has one function. That function is to get and keep customers. That's a function of marketing. And the problem is because they're very technically focused. They're not very entrepreneurial, if you will. And so they think that they have to get the processes in place before they go out and marketing. You're never going to, the wealthy people do not work that way. The successful MSPs that I've talked to do not operate that way. They don't wait till all the operations are perfect, then do marketing. They're doing both. You can't, it's not an either or, it's an and, okay? And you've got to make sure that at least part of your time is invested in marketing. And hopefully with this oil well concept, you'll see that it's not about just coming up with random creative acts, but it's about picking a few key things. Direct mail, canvassing, webinars, whatever it is, and replicating it, putting some systems around it, repeating it so that you get better and smarter and better results. That's how you get 10 times the results. So now I got a key question for you. And that is, are you ready and willing to be smarter about marketing your IT business, not random chaotic acts, but to set up some of these oil wells, or are you just giving it lip service? Are you just saying, well, I wish I had more clients, or I wish I had more profitability, or I wish I made more money? Maybe you're looking at your tax return and you're going, geez, we lost money this year. And if that's the case, you got to stop giving it lip service and saying, yeah, we got to get better at marketing. You got to do something about it. And if you're willing to do something about it, I've got a proposal for all of you. And I want to give you all the campaigns that I've outlined in this video for free. And some of them you have. If you're a Toolkit, like I'm a Toolkit client or a managed services client, you have like the telemarketing script. That's like a big thing. But the other campaigns you might not have are the lumpy mail series that I talked about that Tom Andrulis and Satima and Jay Ryerse have used to literally close some big major deals. That's one oil well that we have reserved for our Producers Club members. And so I'm willing to give you that. I'm willing to give you a seminar marketing system so that you can see what Chris Weiser did to promote himself, the emails and the registration page and the PowerPoint. And I'm willing to give all of those campaigns to you under one condition. And again, I should remind you, the total revenue generated from these campaigns was $1,410,794.40. If all you did this year was implement those 3 oil wells, heck, if you even just implemented one of them, Just think of how much better off you're going to be in a year from now, how many more prospects, good quality prospects you're going to have on your list, how many more deals, how much more recurring revenue that you're going to have. But I don't want to give it to you because I know for most of you, even if I gave you every step detailed, you're not going to do a darn thing with it. So I don't want to just give it away. Like I said, I've got one condition, and I think you're actually going to like the condition. And that is you got to register and come to my annual IT Sales and Marketing Boot Camp. And this is happening April 3rd through the 6th in Nashville, Tennessee, where we are based here at Robin Central. And it is the biggest IT marketing event that is put on this industry, bar none. We've got 8 amazing speakers. We've got 27 sessions. Last year we had over 500 IT business owners. We're gonna have that again this year, I'm sure, and we have one focus, and that is to give you the most effective, up-to-date sales and marketing and revenue-generating strategies for selling more IT services. That's it. It's also going to be about leadership, about time management, about customer service, about smarter business models. We're going to talk about those kinds of oil wells that you just saw. And we're going to give the first 50 who register after watching this video are going to get these. Now, if you're already registered, I'll make sure you get a copy. But once the next 50 are claimed, this video comes down and the offer is withdrawn. And the reason is I don't want to flood the market with those, especially with those lumpy mail campaigns. So we are limiting the number of people who are actually going to get them. And again, I'll remind you that all these campaigns were worth $1.4 million in revenue that was generated. So even if you got 1/10 of that, even if you only generated $100,000, hopefully you can see the return. But in case you're struggling with that, the tuition for boot camp right now is $997. If you want to go VIP, it's $1,697. But for that investment, you're going to get to come to boot camp and see these amazing speakers. Plus, you're going to get all these marketing oil wells for your business. So let me give you a little bit about boot camp. This year's theme is about innovation. How to revamp the systems, the process, the marketing, the pricing, service delivery in your business for maximum profits with minimum stress. And the reason I chose innovation is because this industry right now is going through a transformation. We saw it go from where you could make money selling hardware years ago to a service model, to manage services. And the companies that are making the most profit now are a service model base. They sell hardware just as a convenience more to their clients. They don't really make a lot of money. We are seeing now another transition where cloud computing is going to change the face of this industry. And maybe it's not going to happen next year, but I promise you in 10 years from now, this industry is going to look very different. And my encouragement to you, to all of my clients, is change your business now before the competition and the market changes you. We saw payphones go away because of the cell phone. We saw Blockbuster Video, a multi-billion-dollar business, go away because of downloadable movies that we can rent on demand. That's so much more easier and convenient. And right now, Google and Microsoft, Apple, all of these competitors, even we're seeing internet service providers, we're seeing phone companies, we're seeing Best Buy's Geek Squad that are going after the small, medium business market with millions of dollars in advertising. And many of them have the client list. If they're the phone company, or if they are the ISP for the area, they already have your customers' information. And they're going to start trying to sell them cloud computing and office productivity suites, which is going to at least change or alter what you can sell them. Now, I'm not saying it's going to make you irrelevant, but what I'm saying is make sure that you are reinventing your business before the competition does it for you. Now, there's 3 really undeniable reasons that you should come to boot camp in addition to the marketing oil well campaigns I'm going to give you. First reason is you're going to be handed multiple marketing campaigns you can use to make your business a lot more successful. Not just stuff to read and shelve, but stuff you can actually use. Let me show you. This is from last year. This was one of the things that we handed out to all of the people that are in the room. This is all of the best, most successful campaigns used by the 7 finalists in our Better Your Best competition. You get handed this. All right, if you did nothing else, you could just go through and literally copy and paste these campaigns, with no guesswork, without having to come up with the copy, without having to come up with the ideas. It is the ultimate shortcut. And best of all, it's not theory. It's not, hey, we think this is going to work. We know it works. These people have already tested this for you, and you get handed this when you come to boot camp. You also learn a lot from your peers, real-world examples that are directly applicable to your business. So you're not going to get some campaigns from a plumber or from an electrician or from some other companies. You're going to get MSPs, people selling cloud computing services, outsourced IT, project work, and they're going to show you how they did what they did and give you those campaigns. And you're going to learn innovative new ways to market your business, to package and price your services and extract more profits from your business. And like I just showed you, that book is part of the Better Your Best competition. Now, over the last 4 years, we took the averages from the 7 finalists, and here's what you're seeing here is the percentage of increase. On average, the 7 finalists increased sales by 106%. They increased their net profit, which is a far more important number, by 327%. Think about that, in 1 year. This is a year, an average for 1 year. 398% increase in managed recurring revenue. So if they increased it by almost 400% in the first year, that builds. And again, they have these oil wells, these systems, these processes, they repeat, and they're going to get better and smarter and scale that very rapidly. And a 42% increase in managed recurring revenue clients. Undeniable reason number 2 you need to be at this boot camp is you're going to get to see and learn from some of the most insightful, thought-provoking leaders and speakers and innovators in the country who will inspire you, who will motivate you, and who will instruct you on what to do. For example, we're having Mike Ditka, that is the coach. In case you're not familiar with him, he is the larger-than-life sports legend, and he's going to be on our stage talking to you about mental toughness, about team building, about attitude, about discipline and leadership. And I've instructed him to hold nothing back. So who the heck knows what good old Mike's going to talk about, but I'm going to tell you the main thing, he knows how winning is done. And if you want to learn how winning is done, how you excel, how you choose excellence, how you get on top in a highly competitive, tough environment, which Mike has in multiple times, then you're definitely going to want to hear Mike, and you're going to have some great stories, I'm sure, when you go back home to talk about what Iron Mike has said. We're also bringing Mark Sanborn. He is the best-selling author of The Fred Factor. That's how to get everybody in your organization passionate about making a real difference to your customers. So not just, going through the motions, but if you're going to build a really, truly profitable, amazing organization that is different from the competition, you've got to learn to innovate from the inside out. You've got to get people in your organization to be leaders, you've got to get them passionate, and you've got to get them to take responsibility. And that is what Mark Sanborn is going to be talking about. He's actually one of the top speakers in the world on this topic, so we're super excited to have him there. We're also going to have my good friend, Brendan Burchard. Brendan has multiple best-selling books. He's been on numerous TV shows. He is a true rock star when it comes to peak performance. And he's going to talk about that. He's done a lot of research in this area of what's really, truly driving human beings. Today, we're in a different environment than we were 20, 50 years ago. And so you have to learn how to do that. And that's what Brendan's going to be talking about. You're going to love his session. You're also going to meet my good friend, Mark Goodman. And Mark is an expert on future crimes. He started out, oddly enough, as an LA police officer, and he got involved in the criminal underground online cyber crimes several years ago. And I promise you, even if you think you know internet security or network security, he is going to shock you with some of the organized crime that is out there and what they're doing today and what you need to know to protect your customers and even your own business. You're also going to hear from my good friend Steve Miller, how to gain higher profits and more top-shelf clients through marketing innovation and brand superiority. Now, Steve's been a good friend of mine for a long time. I've had him speak to my clients before. And if you struggle to answer the question, what separates you from the competition, then you're going to love Steve's presentation, because he's going to tell you the strategies you need to do to stand out in the crowded marketplace to command higher fees and more clients. You're also going to hear from Peter Diamandis, and he is another good friend of mine. Peter is the founder of the X Prize Foundation and Singularity University, and he is going to talk about how to rapidly rapidly unlock your company's potential by developing a culture of innovation, breakthroughs, and transformational strategy. What's amazing these days, we are seeing companies like YouTube and Facebook that are springing up from college graduates that are using basically the money they can get from a credit card, starting these organizations and growing them into multi-billion dollar organizations overnight. And they're using online tools and resources that are now available to us for free. Things like crowdsourcing, social media, and new technologies to build the next billion-dollar business overnight. And that's what Singularity University is all about, is about the new innovative technologies that are coming online, and as well as the X Prize Foundation. I promise when you listen to Peter's presentation, it is going to blow your mind. It's going to open new doorways and ways of thinking about your business, about what you do that could really mean the next billion-dollar overnight success. And there's no reason it can't be you. So you're going to hear from Peter as well. Third undeniable reason, you're going to be in an extremely productive environment of your peers that will have a massive battery charging effect on you. You're also going to have key vendors and partners like JTECH, Level Platforms, ConnectWise, CyberRoam, CloudAny, eFolder, Intel, on and on and on. So you're going to actually get to connect with these key vendors and partners to find out what's new, what's the latest breakthroughs in running an IT services business, what are the new automation tools that are out there, what are the ways that other people are generating profits in their business. And the bottom line is there is no other place in this industry that you can go and get as many direct, relevant money-making ideas and usable marketing strategies, not to mention a massive injection of motivation and inspiration, all with a guarantee on your investment. And of course, I'm going to be hosting the entire event, and I'm going to be delivering to you, again, summaries of things like what you just saw in this video, what's working, unpacked and in more detail, giving you the templates, giving you the examples, so that you can go home and literally implement them without having to be creative, without having to write copy and websites and do all this stuff, with all the tools you need, all the vendors you need to know about, given to you, handed to you at the boot camp. And that's why I can put a money-back guarantee on this program like I do. And we've done this every single year, and this is going to be the 6th year we have held this boot camp. And the money-back guarantee is very simple. At any point during the boot camp, at any point, it can be on the last day, if you're not thoroughly convinced that this event was worth far more than you paid, all you got to do is just quietly go to the back of the room. I'm not going to bring you up and make a spectacle of you. You can just do this very quietly, hand your materials in at our table and say, hey, you know what, it's just not what I expected. And what we'll do is we will refund 100% of your money, no questions, no hassles, and just for your trouble, I'll even refund you up to $300 of your travel costs in addition to the money you spent on your registration to get there. And listen, guys, I don't know of any other conference in this industry that would be willing, that is making any guarantee, let alone that kind of guarantee. And I can make that very confidently because I know when you come, you are going to be blown away with the content and the resources and the value that you get. So all you have to do is register right now. On this webpage, you're going to see ways that you can register. You can join us in a general admission or a VIP ticket. General admission, you get access to all the speakers, the content, the workbooks, and everything. VIP, you get access to all that. Plus, you get access to breakfast and lunch, which we feed you, the cocktail receptions, and the recording of the event. So you get the videos afterwards. So you get a little bit more. But if you're a little bit budget conscious, you can go with general admission. You could still get all of the content. But either way, you're going to get a great event. So go ahead, register now. Early bird discounts are ending soon. They're ending February 15th. And you have to just go to the site and register now to lock yourself in. And I will point out that for the last 3 years, we have sold out every single seat in advance. And by selling out, I mean, we can fit about 500 people in that room. We typically go and sell tickets until we get to 550, little secret, because we sometimes get no-shows. So we not only fill the event, we overfill the event. And that has happened every year for the last 3 years where we had to cut off registration. Don't miss this event. We do not make the recordings available afterwards to people. You can't go buy them. So you got to be here or you're going to miss out altogether. So go ahead, register now, and let's make this the best year ever for you. Let's finally break through that glass ceiling, that that problem that you're having that you just can't seem to get over, the model that you're trying to figure out, the one connection that you need, the one vendor that you're trying to find. You're going to come to boot camp. Let's do that for you. So go ahead, register now, and I'll look forward to seeing you there at the boot camp.